Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Syd Harvey Griffith. I work with Permatours DAO and Regen Garden DAO. And today I am interviewing Anneloes Smitsman. And I'm so honored to do that as I've been weaving with her in the seeds ecosystem. Anneloes Smitsman is a futurist, systems scientist, award-winning pioneer in human development and systems change. And she's the founder and CEO of EARTHwise Center, which is really exciting too, as that lends itself to constitutions. And she has been a major part of the development of Seed's constitution. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Anneloes, to introduce yourself. And thanks so much again for joining today.
Oh, it's great to be with you all. And before we begin, let's just say happy birthday, Seeds.
Yes.
Yeah, happy birthday. You'll see this little candle. Well, that is for Seeds. Seeds is turning 3. Isn't that amazing? And 3 is my favorite number. For me, 3 represents the number of creativity and creation. I always say if you create in 3s rather than 2, then you'll be able to actualize the potential that is there without it becoming dualistic. So 3 is a magical number. It's a beautiful number. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here with all of you. I've been part of the Seeds journey since 2019, May 2019. I was introduced to Reiki and learned of this beautiful vision of Seeds, and really felt strongly that this is really important to give this my full support. And I was really impressed. What stood out for me from the very, very beginning days is that people were willing truly to contribute their talents, their time, their resources, their love, for something that wasn't tangible at the start. There were a lot of promises, a lot of intentions that we had, but everyone understood that we are going to be in the greatest experiment ever. This is going to be the experiment of a lifetime, because that's no small thing to set out to say, let's create whole new economic systems, whole new governance systems. Yeah? Let's really become the future humans of whole new civilizations. And so that's amazing. So that's what really stood out for me when I joined the Seeds community, that there was already that love, there was already that passion and that commitment to dive in, to start working together, to collaborating, and to see how we could co-create those beautiful new systems.
So beautiful. It is the ultimate experiment of a lifetime. Oh my gosh, such a beautiful way to put it. And as far as your recent publishing of EARTHwise Center's Constitution, you mentioned that it highlights the story of seeds. I was wondering if you could speak on that and its relevance for what's happening in the seeds ecosystem.
Yeah, so the EARTHwise Constitution for planetary civilization is like a compass for co-creating thrivable worlds and futures with the wisdom of living systems. And the exact same compass that we have in part 1 of the Seeds Constitution is also for the EARTHwise Constitution. So the EARTHwise Constitution has also, just like with Seeds, been a long time in the making, but now it's been time to bring it out and really to contribute this to the movement, because it's free online. Everyone can work with it and adapt it also to their unique context and their unique purpose as an evolutionary blueprint. And how it serves really at a meta level of movement building, which is also really core to the story and the commitment of Seeds, is that it helps us to really feel the engagement for the larger vision of, what does it mean to see ourselves right now as future ancestors of a new civilization, future ancestors of a planetary civilization, yeah, as Earth citizens. And what the EARTHwise Constitution then does at that method level is help people to truly experience that, and then to be able to engage with it and connect with it and apply it to their own context without having to become a citizen. In the Seeds Constitution, in order to work with it, we have to become a seed citizen and also work with the tools that sometimes can be complex. So I wanted to be able to create here an evolutionary blueprint that's interactive, that everyone can work with, that doesn't require a technology in order to start working with it. And that when people are getting familiar then with these same principles that are also within the Seeds Constitution, that then they may really want to go deeper and say, well, now I'm ready for seeds. Now I'm ready to start playing in this new ecosystem. Now I want to be exploring also how do we create the new currencies that are designed from these amazing regenerative algorithms that bias towards collaboration, co-creation, generosity, trust, compassion, love, and sharing.
Wow, thank you so much for that. And based on what's going on in the seeds ecosystem, after 3 years of co-creating, experimenting, playing with different models for coordination and governance, what is your sense for the role that this new constitution will play? And what is your sense for what we're calling in as a community?
I think what we're calling in that sense is still the same. Really, it's not what we're calling in, it's who we are calling in. We are calling in ourselves, really. We're calling in ourselves. So it's also about our own future becoming. So if we're looking, again, number 3 is really important in transformation as well. So my feeling and experience here as a member of the community is that we are at a critical rebirthing moment right now. And in the Constitution of Seeds, we have outlined that principle that the Constitution itself needs to be able to support and to catalyze that evolutionary growth and development. And that therefore the Constitution within itself also needs to be able to evolve. And this is why also the Seeds Constitution is ready now for its next iteration, its version 2, its upgrade. Because we've been learning now over the last years what works, what doesn't work in the Constitution of Seeds. We've also have outlined that we need to have the courage also to let go and to let die with dignity what no longer needs to be there, and then to be able to make space and have the courage to experiment, and to also allow new developments, new growth, new tools, new ways to come into being. And this is where you can see in this 3-year journey within Seeds, where I see the maturation happening as a community is, first of all, to have the patience of the understanding. And so anybody who's come in that expected everything ready-made and all these beautiful promises immediately realized, no, that's the intention. That is in our compass. That's what we are navigating for. But that's why I said, who are we becoming? Yeah, so it's about ourselves, right? How are we showing up to, in a way, become the tools? So, because it's from our own consciousness, from our own values, from the way that we relate with each other, that holds the field, the creative field, that then allows these new tools and new discoveries and refinements and upgrades, that allows that to come into being. And so if I reflect back again as well on those 3 years, there have been several times within the Seeds journey where you could see the danger of it splintering off, of people being dissatisfied or disappointed, or feeling this is not working, and I expected all these different tools and technologies and it's not doing what I wanted it to do. So again, I'd like to remind everyone that when we're really opting in for Seeds, we're not opting in for just a new currency. We're not opting in for simply a new economic system. We're opting in for this planetary civilizational experiment to become the future humans, within which and within whom the solutions can be born. And this is where I also see, if we're looking at Seeds journey as a rite of passage, we're tested. We are being tested as well and challenged. How deep are our values? And all the patterns that are out there in the world, in the human world, that are causing so much harm, division, disunity, competition. All of those patterns, will be here too, but it's about, do we have the courage to see that? Do we bring it to light? And how do we also heal as a community those deep wounds of humanity? And so when people ask me, why am I part of Seeds and what does Seeds mean for me? It's this community. It's this community of people who care for each other, who show up and are really willing to work on the very foundations that long time from now our children will say, you did it, you worked on it. Yeah, I'm a mother of two boys, two teenage boys, 12 and 14. And they're part of my motivation of why I'm part of Seeds. So that long time from now, they can look back and say, well, thanks, Mom, and thanks everyone at Seeds that you had the courage to even start experimenting with these ways. And courage means that you say yes, you show up, you link up, you connect up without having any guarantees of the results. That to me is real courage. That's real love. And that is where I believe in Seeds, because what I can see as a community, we've gone through many different challenges. There have been a lot of options for it to splinter, fall apart, stop altogether. We've come very close at times, and but we haven't fallen apart. We've grown stronger, we've grown more mature, and there's now a consciousness within Seeds as an ecosystem that was before a potential, but now it's a field. It is a field. It's a field that holds us. It's a field that pulls us back. It's also a field that reminds us to what is important. And in working with the Seeds Constitution, this is why we have that compass. This is why the compass is a compass of values. It's a compass of principles that unite us, and principles that bring us really back to the heart of what's truly important in life.
Wow. Yes, 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 yes. That's amazing. I resonate so deeply with the beauty of the humans. We're from, so many of us, different places on earth, backgrounds, walks of life, age groups, and yet we're all super connected to this dream, this dream that we're playing with, that we're in process of manifesting, this experiment. And you mentioned letting go. That's a big one, I think, for me and a lot of other people in the Seeds ecosystem. Is many of us have invested so much time, energy, processes, ideas, papers, constitutions, etc. And when there's feedback of things not working, or new introductions of alternative ways to go, it is challenging to have to let go. And I'm curious, what would you recommend to people in that process of detachment, of letting go, and also the values you mentioned? How do those play a role in that process of just trusting and surrendering to the process and evolution?
That's a beautiful question. You see, if we want to learn and we want to evolve and we want to develop, we have to let go. There's so many stages of letting go. Spring doesn't come unless there's autumn. And in autumn, the tree lets go. And those leaves, they become compost and they become the support for the new growth. So for all of you who feel like you've invested a lot and you feel challenged right now, that really, do I have to let go of this idea? And I really believe it's going to work. And so just know, this is not a let go of rejection. This is a letting go to give it back to life so that we then receive it back. Anytime I'm working with projects or ideas, or I'm working in a creative process to bring something into life, before I share it with the world, I always give it back to life. I always say, okay, this is, with my limited understanding, this is how far I've been able to help shape it and bring it into form. but we're working with consciousness. Yeah. So when you're working with consciousness, then have also that understanding of co-creation. You're not doing this alone. It's not about your idea. It's not about your need. It's not about what you want others to be able to follow you or do it as you think about it. No, we are working with the consciousness of a planetary civilization that is seeking to emerge, for which we are its future ancestors. That consciousness already exists in potential in all of us now. That's why we can feel it in our hearts. But it's really important that we don't impose our forms on that, so that we have also that understanding of when you let it go, you give it back. You give it back to that greater consciousness with the trust and the very clear intention that it may now return to you in a way that's more coherent, more aligned, more clear in its purpose to serve life, and that all the stuff around it, all the complexity that doesn't work, any of the projections, anything that stands in the way of that beauty coming through, that all of that may fall away. So when you let go in order to release, so that something can come into its true essence, its true form, its true purpose. Yeah? It's why with the seed's constitution, when we have the compass, there's a little black dot in the center, and that's that code of unity and wholeness. And that's that little black dot is our through line. That's our birthing portal. This is from where we are able to bring it back to the greater unity and then receive it again. So life is always that process of bringing it into form, and then we are allowing old forms to die. But it's just the form that falls away, not the consciousness. So that the consciousness can benefit from that greater field and then comes back and evolves and evolves.
Beautiful. I'm curious how that letting go and surrendering lends itself or translates to governance and coordination, as there's so many different models and ways to do it and pieces to extrapolate. How do we let it go while also trying to organize ourselves in a way?
Yes.
Challenging.
It is, because I think what I've seen lately is that a lot of the governance tools and templates that are coming in also were part of other systems that people have created. And sometimes there were pieces of other systems and then trying to contextualize. And then we feel it doesn't quite work. We have to be very careful that we're not creating governance, again, in a mechanistic way, saying, oh, wow, I like this framework and this tool right there, and let's just apply it here. No. Stay grounded in the question. What is the most appropriate for now, because it will evolve, but what's the most appropriate form of governance for the seeds ecosystem? What does the seeds ecosystem need in terms of its governance guidelines, its principles, its tools, its processes, its values? And how can we allow that to come into being? This is also the process that we went through, that Reiki and I worked with the seeds constitution. Not trying to impose what do we want it to be, but first allowing its structure, its archetypes to come into being, and then allowing the kind of physical outward expression of that to come forth. And so with governance, often when we go into a governance mindset, that very mindset is not conducive for a governance of stewardship. If we go too quickly, I just want to know, how do we make decisions, and what are the principles, and what do we do if we disagree, and how much consensus is there? And you can see already there have been I think in some of the governance protocols that we've created, we've tied ourselves. And then it's about recognizing that we're doing that and let it go again. And in nature, what's the governance of an ecosystem? So how does a forest steward its health? What you can see, there are always three basic principles that we have to work with governance. One is the capacity to create. And so every living system has that self-creative capacity. So that comes to the autonomy. And this is where we see in the governance, we're working with decentralized autonomous organizations and also the decentralized human organizations. So It's the autonomy of each person, each circle, each council, each group, and the ecosystem as a whole. So that's the first one. The second is the capacity to regulate. Yeah? So if you want to be able to regulate, that means also that you need to be able to have choice. You need to be able to decide. You need to be able to, how can I, for example, increase or decrease my input? How can I decide how involved or perhaps taking a step back? So the capacity to be able to regulate. Our bodies do this naturally. They regulate our temperatures, otherwise we're running a fever and we will be in a lot of trouble. And the other one is to be able to adapt, adaptability. But now here, we need to make sure that we're not adapting to unhealthy patterns. We're not adapting to shadow dynamics. We're not adapting to some of the loudest members who are imposing their ideas. Yeah? Adapting to the changes, but continue to tune for the whole system, the health of the wholeness, really the essence and the purpose of Seed. So when we are bringing governance back along those three fundamental principles, and then seeing, are we enabling, are we empowering that? Are we flexible enough? Are we resilient enough? Yeah? And these should be, I think, our criteria. And I feel that we've been too quickly wanting to create the best governance system without being in a learning process of governance from a consciousness of stewardship. So if we are allowing ourselves to say, okay, let's really explore here what works, what doesn't work, without critique, without resentment, without criticizing anyone, but just honestly assessing what have we been learning, what works, what can we take from that, what works, knowing that every feedback is valuable to that learning. Yeah? And then being in a relationship of governance to allow ourselves to play with different tools, adjust the tools, explore new tools, then develop the consciousness of governance. When you have the consciousness of governance and you have the consciousness of stewardship, you don't need all these very complex agreements. Then you're in that field, yeah.
Yes, I was just thinking that, the Haifa DAO tools, there's a million questions, and how do we do this, and how do we do that? And then, like you said, being adaptable and flexible, that seems to be the key. You can answer all those questions, and then a situation or circumstance comes up where it's like, oh, this doesn't quite work, let's tweak it here and there. And so, yeah, that's super powerful, I feel like. I'm curious where you pull a lot of your inspiration from, or what the process is for you being a conduit for whatever you call it, to create these constitutions, write your books, introduce these values. How does that happen for you?
Oh, that's a great question too. Yeah. Not many people have asked me that. I love that. Yeah. Well, my starting point is nature. Since I was a little girl, I've been very, very close to nature and very close to animals. And for me, they are family. And so I've always just listened to nature, and I can feel nature very, very deeply. When I walk past some plants here, I feel the connection. I can feel how they are. So for me, nature speaks. Living systems, they speak. They are constantly sharing and having feedback. So I always, remind myself that everything that we need in order to co-create these beautiful worlds already exists. It's already here. In nature, everything that already exists and works and evolves why does it work? It's because it's in a relationship. It's in a relationship of sharing. It's in a relationship of caring. And it's a relationship of co-learning and growing together. So these are really my foundations. You start with the universe itself, open yourself to life, have the deepest partnership with life, allow that consciousness of, wow, it's billions and billions of years of an evolutionary experiment here on planet Earth. It's just incredible. We are the youngest species. And we think that we can do it better. Well, we can't. We need to learn some humility. So It's about allowing that consciousness first, that planetary consciousness that has gone through so much learning, so much growing. Let that be the field that carries you. That's the field that carries me, that inspires me, that sources me. And now that planetary field, that planetary consciousness is part of a larger cosmic and universal field of the universe itself. And before that, other universes, because now, as the latest research in science is showing, that it seems that our universe itself is cyclical. So, yeah, really, when you open to the essence of that evolutionary process of life itself, it's a world of wonder. It's miraculous. It's incredible, and you'll never without inspiration. Now, sometimes I wake up and I say, may I have a little bit less inspiration, because it's it's so much. I can't keep up sometimes in order to bring it all into form. So when you live from that consciousness, there is constant flow of abundance.
Wow. I just want to sink in and drink in all of that goodness. And I feel that too. And seeds gives that to me, that hope and inspiration, and that dream of a more beautiful world, as Charles says, that our hearts know is possible. And I know many of us were drawn to seeds because of this idea that the abundance that you speak of, that the world provides, that it could manifest itself into all beings having what they need to thrive, not only for their basic needs to be met of food and water and shelter, but opportunities and canvases and platforms to play and create and to create a better world. So I'm wondering what your feelings and thoughts are around what we as a community can do together to call that in, or to get there. I know that that's what you're working on with the Constitution and your books and the values, but can you introduce any practical steps that could support our co-creating around this vision?
Yes, I would love that. So step number one, of course, you need your own awareness and your consciousness first. So if you're not present within yourself and you're not grounded within life, so if your thoughts and your minds are all over the place, then abundance and all these principles are just a nice theory, they're nice words. Yeah. So step number one is regain your own consciousness. Yeah, become present within yourself, even as you're listening or you're watching this video right now. Just take a deep breath in. You are life. And get present within yourself and call your consciousness, call your attention back from wherever it has been, whether some of it is still in a dream or a thought, or you're thinking of the past or the future, doesn't matter. Just call yourself back together. Call yourself back together. And hold that intention right now to be fully present here and now within your whole self. And as you do that and you really ground and center within yourself, now hold the intention to connect with life within you. And just become aware of how life lives within you. And become aware within your whole self if there are any places where life is not able to flow freely. If there are any areas or any tensions or any blockages or any imbalances. And I'll hold that intention that any of those inner and outer restrictions and imbalances may fall away and clear away. As now that life force that you are and your direct connection with the source of life grows stronger and stronger. And as it grows stronger, it circulates, and it's circulated by your beautiful heart. And your heart is now distributing this beautiful life wisdom all within and all throughout you and through your entire field. And now, as you're feeling that connection with life grows stronger, you're also getting more sourced with that beautiful, beautiful wisdom of love itself. And now feel how that universal heart of pure love pulses within your own heart. and allow yourself now to be fully nourished and sustained and revitalized by that beautiful wisdom of love. So if there's anywhere within yourself or around you in your relationships where you haven't had enough love and you haven't had enough of that support, now know it's fully available for you, and allow that love now to flow all within and around you to any of those places that need that beautiful touch of love. And now, as you find your own great source of being, and you become like a great sun of life, and you learn how to generate that source of love, to be that life, to be that love. Now allow that love and that light that you are, that you emit, allow that now to go out into the world. And as it goes out into the world, it supports the whole of humanity and our beautiful earth and all beings. And know that the more you give that love, the more you receive. It's an endless source that is just infinite. It's infinite. It's infinite. It's infinite. You are that abundance.
What beautiful practical steps. Yes, let's start every meeting like that, please. Wow. This phrase keeps coming up for me of the end justifying the means, which I'm sure both of us don't really connect with, especially because the means have to be aligned with where we're going, and also where we're going is infinite. There's no end to this dream. It's the journey too, right? It's the journey that we're on together and the relationships that we're building through this beautiful intention and mission that is Seeds. And I'm just so grateful for it. Yeah, I'm just also taken aback a bit by that meditation. I'm just like feeling really good, and what is there anything coming up for you that you'd like to share? Because I'm just feeling great.
You're blissed now.
I'm blissed out. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. That's one thing I'd like to ask us as a community, and that is to know the story of Seeds. Who are you as a story of Seeds? And to start telling the story of Seeds as the people who are coming together around these principles of this beautiful abundance and life and fertility and regeneration and creativity. And let that be the story of Seeds. And I would like to ask us all to ease and release some of those expectations that we've had also, that we have to be a currency, we have to be the governance system, so that we have a whole list of all these things that we're constantly working on and needing to achieve, and then and we just think we have it, we have to evolve it. Okay, take a deep breath. Those are tools. Okay. Just let them be what they are. But that's not the story of Seeds. That is not the consciousness of Seeds. So let us just come back home into the world of Seeds, which is a world of life. And remember why we are doing this. Why we are doing this, because we love our planet. And we know we are part of this family of life. And we want to take care of each other, of life as a community. We want to take care also of the principles and the values that can see us through the many disruptions that are happening. And there's a crazy world out there. And there's a lot of noise out there. Leave that noise out there. Just no need to bring all of that into seeds. Yeah. And can seeds just be also 3 years old right now? A little infant? So expecting so much from it. It's like, can you imagine this little seed going, oh, I have to be all that. It's like, really? I'm just learning to walk. I'm still tumbling. And that doesn't mean I have to run. It's like, okay, happy birthday, seeds. You're just 3 and you're just beautiful as you are. We love you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Wow. That's the finale right there. It's just 3 years old. Come on.
That's exactly.
Wow. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Wow. Well, I so appreciate our time together. And thank you so much for everything that you do for the community, the world, the animals, the squirrels, the acorns, for us on our meetings. And I am so looking forward to continuing this journey with you and the ecosystem at large.
And same to you, Syd. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing and everything that you're helping to grow, and for the amazing woman you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay, seeds! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Yes. Wow. That was so beautiful. Oh my gosh.